Now let's have a look at the activity 3. So it is again under the two-way data table. We are going to have a look at another activity, that is activity 3. So let's read the activity and thereafter we'll decide what we have to do with that respect. The Mr. Pereira needs rupees 1 million to construct his house. He is planning borrow a loan from a bank to cover either the full amount or part of the amount from the bank. Mr. Pereira can afford only rupees 20,000 monthly payment as the loan installment. There are 5 loan schemes based on the loan period. It is as follows. The 5 types of loan schemes based on the amount borrowed. So there are plan A, which is available for 24 months, or it is for 2 years. Plan B, that is available for 3 years or 36 months. C, 48 months. Likewise, it goes up until 72 months. So therefore, in the bank, they make available 5 plans to Mr. Pereira. Then also the corresponding interest rates are given. The annual interest rate is determined as follows. Up to 850,000, they have agreed to give an interest rate of 12.5. So if the amount is in between 850,000 to 1 million, the bank is ready to offer them at 13%. And if the loan goes beyond 1 million, then the interest rate applicable one is going to be 13.5. So likewise, these are the interest rate that the bank would offer. First, it says that, however, for increase of every 12 months from the plan A onwards, an additional 0.5% should be added to the base interest rate in the above table. Then develop a sensitivity analysis to find out the feasible combination of loan plans and amounts. So when you look at this question, then අපිට කියනවා මේ question එකේ Mr. Pereiraට නිවසක් සෑදීම සඳහා මිලියනයක ණයක් අවශ්‍ය වෙලා තියෙනවා. ඒතකොට එතනදී Mr. Pereira plan කරනවා මේක bank එකත් එක්ක loan එකක් negotiate කරගන්න. එතනදී කියනවා Mr. Pereiraට මාසික වාරිකයේ වශයෙන් දැරිය හැකි උපරිම මුදල 20000ක් තමයි මාසික වාරිකයේ වශයෙන් දරන්න පුළුවන්. Depending on his salary or depending on his income. So that is the maximum that the Mr. Pereira can afford as the monthly installment. එතකොට bank එකත් එක්ක negotiate කරනකොට bank එක කියනවා අපි ගාව loan schemes පහක් තියෙනවා. එතකොට plans පහක් තියෙනවා. එතකොට A B C D E කියලා. එතකොට එක plan එකක් තියෙනවා මාස 24ට යන්න පුළුවන්, මාස 36ට යන්න පුළුවන්, මාස 48ට, මාස 60ට, මාස 72ට. ඔය වගේ loan schemes available කරලා තියෙනවා. එතකොට එතනදී මේ එක් loan scheme එකට applicable වෙන interest rate එකක් කියලා තියෙනවා. ඒතකොට අපි 8,50,000ක් දක්වා නම් ලබා ගන්නේ. එතනදී අපිට 12.5ක් rate එකකට දෙන්නම් කියලා කියනවා. ඒ වගේම අපි ගන්න ණය මුදල 8,50,000 මිලියනයක් අතර නම් තියෙන්නේ 13ක rate එකකට offer කරන්න පුළුවන් කියලා කියනවා. ඒ වගේම මිලියනයට වඩා වැඩි වෙනවා නම් අපි ගන්න ණය ප්‍රමාණය එතනදී 13.5ක් වගේ interest rate එකකට තමයි bank එක දෙන්න ලෑස්ති වෙන්නේ. නමුත් මේ කියන interest rate අදාළ වෙන්නේ plan A එකට අදාළ. ඒ කියන්නේ මාස 24කින් settle කරන basis එකේ ගියොත් තමයි මේ කියන interest rate අදාළ වෙන්නේ මේ කියන amounts වලට අදාළව. බැරි වෙලා හරි අපි plan A නැතුව අනිත් plan එකකට යනවා නම් උදාහරණ විදිහට plan B එකට යනවා නම් ඒතකොට එතන ඉඳලා අපිට පේනවා plan A එකේ ඉඳලා මාස 12ක වැඩිවීමක් තියෙනවා. එහෙනම් වැඩි වෙන සෑම මාස 12කටම additional 100%ක් add කරන්නත් ඕනෙලු. එතකොට අපි මේ කියන amount එකට අදාළව plan A එක නැතුව වෙන plan එකකට settle වෙනවා නම් එතනදී plan A ඉඳලා වැඩි වෙන සෑම මාස 12කටම additional interest rate 105 ගානේ එකතු වෙලා තමයි අපේ අවසාන interest rate එක තීරණය වෙන්නේ. එහෙනම් මෙතන අපි සැලකිල්ලට ගත යුතු කාරණා කීපයක් තියෙනවා. පළවෙනි එක තමයි ගන්න මුදලත් එක්ක interest rate එක වෙනස් වෙනවා. ඒකට අපි කියනවා base interest එකක් කියලා. ඊට අමතරව අපි decide කරන plan එකත් එක්කත් මේක වෙනස් වෙනවා. අපි plan A වලට යනවා නම් ප්‍රශ්නයක් නැහැ. අපි ගන්න මුදලත් එක්ක මේ interest rate තමයි අපිට applicable වෙන්නේ. හැබැයි අපි plan B එකට ගියොත් එතකොට අපි plan A වලින් deviate වෙනවා. plan A වල ඉඳලා තව මාස 12ක් ඒකට add වෙලා තමයි මාස 36 හැදෙන්නේ. එහෙනම් එතකොට plan B වලට වගේ ගියොත් අපිට වැඩි වුණු මාස 12ට අදාළව additional interest rate එකක් 0.5ක් අපේ base interest rate එකට add වෙලා තමයි අපේ අවසාන interest rate එක තීරණය වෙන්නේ. එහෙනම් මේ ටික සැලකිල්ලට අරගෙන තමයි අපිට work out කරන්න වෙන්නේ installment එක. එතකොට අපි installment එක work out කිරීමේදී අපේ වැදගත්ම කාරණා තමයි Mr. Pereiraට afford කරන්න පුළුවන් 20000ක interest rate එකක්. එහෙනම් අපි sensitivity analysis එකක් කරලා බලමු Mr. Pereiraට යන්න පුළුවන් උපරිම මුදල මොකක්ද? ඒ වගේම Mr. Pereiraට suitable වෙන plan එක මොකක්ද? එතකොට මේ විදිහට අපි decide කරමු. මාස 24ක plan එකක් වෙන්න පුළුවන් 36ක් වෙන්න පුළුවන්. එතකොට අපිට මේක necessarily inputs දෙකක් තියෙනවා. එකක් amount එක අනිත් එක අපි දන්නවා ඒක තමයි loan period එක. එතකොට මේ inputs දෙක අරගෙන අපි loan installment එක work out කරලා බලමු. So how it's going to be. So let me initially copy this information and let me take that to the Excel sheet. You can take that to an Excel sheet and you can work this out. Right. So then first, as usual, we need to have some inputs. We may have these inputs. So when come to these inputs, we have the loan. So let's say at the moment the loan is 800,000. You can assume a particular figure and you can put them there, right? Even if you wish, you can put 1 million. It doesn't make any difference, right? So likewise, so you can have that loan amount. Then most importantly, you need to have that what you call the maturity or the duration of the loan. So let's say that initially you can assume that according to the plans you have 24, 36, 48, 60, 72 likewise. So let me just take 48. So duration in months, most importantly duration in month. So that is important information when you are going to compute the loan installment. And then you need to have that base interest rate. You need to have the base interest rate. Right? And you would have to figure out the additional interest rate. And thereby the applicable interest rate. Right. Then you can identify the loan installment. So your output is going to be the loan installment. Your output, the loan installment. Loan installment. Right. So here you need to do a kind of computation relating to the base interest rate and additional interest rate. Thereby you can figure out what is the applicable interest rate, right? When it comes to the base interest rate, how it is determined? It is based on the amount. No, the question says that if you borrow up to 850,000, your interest rate is 12.5. If it is more than 850,000 and less than 1 million, that is 13%. If is more than 1 million, so that is going to be 13.5. So therefore that is how the base interest rate works. So using your knowledge on if function, you can simply write a formula for this base interest rate. No? So let's take that. So you can take if function, a basic if you take that, then what is your logical test? You are going to check whether this amount, the loan amount, make it constant, greater than, sorry, let's take less than, no, less than or equal 850,000, right? That is the first thing you are going to check. If that is the case, what is the applicable interest rate? That's going to be 12.5. As per the question, that is 12.5. Then value be false, you have two more things to be considered. So therefore you have to take another if, right? Then you may go to the name box and you may click that, take another if. Then you can check whether this amount is less than or equal 1 million. Then value if true, what you must do, the applicable interest rate is how much? 13%. Then if false, then what it means the if false? It is not less than 850, it is not less than or equal to 1 million, so something other than that. So therefore probably it is an amount more than 1 million. So you need not to take another if, just take 13.5, right? Say okay. So that's the simple thing, very simple thing what you need to make sure of. So you can make these things constant, say okay, even yeah, right. Now just check that, let's make it 700,000. Yes, it works, the applicable interest rate comes. So let's make it like 1.5 million. Yes, it comes as 13.5. So therefore we have very perfectly done that, good. Then what you have to do, you have to take the additional interest rate. How it is determined? So if you settle with plan A, no additional interest rate is there. But if you go for plan B, then you have additional 0.5 million. So if you go for the next plan, the plan C, again another 0.5. So therefore if you are deviating from plan A from 24 months, 12 months it's going to be 0.5. so therefore for 24 months it's going to be 1% additional interest rate. So if you go to that, it says that however for every increase of 12 months from the plan A onwards, an additional 0.5 should be added to the base interest rate. තොර අපි plan A එකේ ඉඳලා වැඩි වෙන සෑම මාස 12කටම additional interest rate එකක් add වෙනවා. එවනම් අපි 36 month ගියොත් 0.5, 48 month ගියොත් 1%, 60 ගියොත් 1.5, 72 ගියොත් 2. ඒ විදිහට තමයි යන්න ඕනේ. නම් අපිටත් ඒකත් if වලින්ම ගන්න පුළුවන් බොහොම පහසුවෙන්. You take the if function. If the duration is equal 24 නම් duration එක you have to pay 0% additional interest rate. If false, you have to take another if, then check whether this is equal to 36. If it is equal to 36, then it's going to be 0.5%. If false, you may have to take another if, then check whether this is equal to 48. if that is the case, what is the increase? 24 months from the plan A, so therefore 1% you would have to take. Then if false, you may have to take another if. What if this is equal to 60? Then it's going to be deviation of 36 months, it's going to be 1.5%. If false, it's going to be 72, so that is the only outcome that it is available there. It's going to be 2%. Right, that's how you would take that. Right, let me make this constant. Right, okay, fine. Now it comes as 0.1 million, 0.1%. Then let me change it 60. See, it comes as like 0.15%. What if it is 24? It becomes 0. What if it is 36? 0.005. So likewise, now it is made pretty clear. Now it is made pretty clear that you have taken that correctly. Now you can add these two rates and you can make it and get the applicable interest rate. So the applicable interest rate is going to be 14.5. So the applicable annual interest rate is 14.5. Then you may get the output. Now you have find all the required information. By using the PMT function, you can identify the loan installment. So in fact, you have learned this earlier. So you have to apply that knowledge, right? Take the PMT function. So you have to take the rate. So the rate is going to be the applicable interest rate. So it is this particular rate, but you need to make sure that it is an annual interest rate, right? So therefore you have to make it a monthly interest rate. So divide it by 12. Then in PR, so how many months that involves? So in this particular case, it is 48. Then the present value, that is the loan. So you would get this, and that would be the required information. You can say, okay, so under the present circumstances, your loan installment had become 41,366.93. So which is clearly something not affordable to Mr. Pereira, because he agreed that he can only afford 20,000. But you have just developed the basic model. Now you can do a sensitivity analysis and you can identify what must be the amount that this Mr. Pereira can afford, right? Okay. So now let's go to the output and let's try to identify. Let's try to identify the two inputs, what it takes, and the two inputs that it takes. The first input, let me take, that is the loan amount. Let's say. So you can try in the starting from like 500,000, and let's add 100,000. Make a 50,000 ගානේ වැඩි කරගෙන යමු. ඒකට අපිට ගොඩක් combinations බලන්න පුළුවන්. හිතමු 50,000 ගානේ වැඩි වෙනවා. 5,50,000යි 6,00,000යි මේ විදිහට අපි 1.2 million විතර වෙනකන් අරගමු මේ ටික. එතකොට ඔන්න අපේ එක input එකක් වෙනවා. loan installment එක. sorry, loan amount එක. loan amount එක තියෙනවා 1.2 million. ඊට පස්සේ අපිට පුළුවන් මේත් එක්කම ඊළඟ input එක අඳුර ගන්න. It's going to be the plan එක නේ. So your plan, it can be plan A, B, C, D, O, E. ඒ ටික තමයි වෙන්න පුළුවන් plans. ඒතකොට පළවෙනි plan එකට අනුව අපිට තියෙනවා මාස 24ක මාස 24ක්. දෙවෙනි plan එක එතකොට මේක 12 ගන්න වැඩි වේගන යන්නේ. ගන්න පුළුවන් 36, 48, likewise you can go up until 72. So therefore your plans goes like this. You can settle for 24 months, you can settle for 36 months, likewise, right? You may take that is your plan. Now the loan amount, sorry, now the installment. You have to take that in the upper left corner. So you can simply bring them there. Right. Now we have the two inputs and the required output. Now you can select the whole area. Now you may select the whole area and you may go to the data, the what if analysis, data table. It's two-way data table. So what is your raw input set? Your raw input, it's going to be the months. So therefore you may refer to the duration. Then the column input, what is your column input? It's clearly going to be the loan amount. So refer to the loan amount. Then say okay. Then see what has happened. So this is going to be your applicable rates. So let me format that, otherwise it's difficult to read. So this is it. So here we have the applicable interest rate. Then what would be the interest rate that is affordable for Mr. Pereira? So it should be the installment that is below 20,000. So therefore you may go to the entire area and you may go to the conditional formatting, and then you can apply highlight, that is less than 20,000, less than 20,000. So make sure that you take the minus figures, right? Because here everything is minus figures. Or it must be the other way around, right? So if you take the less than 20,000, minus 20,000, it's going to be minus 21,000, likewise it goes. So therefore you may have to get it must be greater than, right? So the suitable condition is going to be the greater than. So the greater than, like minus 20,000. Yeah. So this is what it seems feasible. So if you are really willing to go for installment less than 20,000, see, you can settle for 5 million and 3 years, 36 months. Or either if you look for a higher amount, you can go for like 900,000, 72 months. The installment is 19,031. So therefore this is going to be the highest amount that you can take, 900,000, and it is for 72 months. So that's how you may get that. So if you can slightly change that, if you can go for a kind of installment like 21,000, so yes, you can still go for the entire 1 million. So it depends. Most probably you can make additional arrangement for another 1,145 rupees. So then you can go for the required amount. But at the moment the question is specifically asked, he can only afford 20,000. So therefore you may go for the interest, you may go for the installment that is below 20,000. So therefore what is highlighted would be the preferred loan plans for this Mr. Pereira. So the maximum that he can go is 900,000, that is for like 7 years. 7 years, he can go for 7 years. That's how you get that. Right, so that's how you must work this question out. So there is like your exam type question, so therefore you need to work on this and make sure that you are getting comfortable in this particular area, right? Okay, now let's move on to the next main tool what we expected to discuss. It's about the goal seek command. Let's see what it is. When come to the goal seek feature, it enable you to compute value for an input according to the goal you specify for a given formula. So in this particular case, so far what you have done relating to several inputs, you have worked out a particular output. So depending on the input, you have worked out a particular output. එතකොට මේ දක්වා අපි කරපු දේවල් බැලුවොත් අපි workout කරපු question වල basically අපි බැලුවේ යම් කිසි inputs කීපයක් අපි දෙනවා. ඒ inputs වලට අදාළව අපි යම් කිසි output එකක් generate කරා. ඊට පස්සේ මේ input වල සිද්ධ වෙන වෙනස්කම් එක්ක මේ කොහොමද output එක වෙනස් වෙන්නේ කියන දෙයක් බැලුවා. ඒක තමයි මේ sensitivity analysis එකේ ප්‍රධාන වශයෙන්ම සිද්ධ වෙන්නේ. සිද්ධ කරේ අපි. එතකොට මේ goal seek command එකට එනකොට ඒකේ මොකක්ද සිද්ධ වෙන්නේ? එතනදී අපේ starting point එක වෙන්නේ යම් කිසි output එකක්. අපිට තියෙනවා desired output එකක්. ඒ desired output එකට අදාළව අපි identify කරන්න උත්සාහ කරනවා මොනවද inputs වෙන්න ඕනේ කියන එක. ඒතර උදාහරණයක් විදිහට කිව්වොත් ඒතර අපි මුලින්ම ගත්ත basic example එකේ අපි යම්කිසි profit එකක් work out කරා depending on the given information. ඒතර එතනදී අපිට ඕනනම් පුළුවන් යම්කිසි profit එකක් specify කරලා. උදාහරණයක් විදිහට අපිට ලක්ෂයක profit එකක් වෙන්න නම් selling price එක කීයක් වෙන්න ඕනද? දී ඇති අනිකුත් තොරතුරු නොවෙනස්ව තියෙන තත්ත්වයක් තුල profit එක ලක්ෂයක් වෙන්න නම් කීයක් වෙන්න ඕනද selling price එක? එහෙම නැත්නම් දී ඇති තත්ත්වයක් තුල profit එක ලක්ෂයක් වෙන්න නම් variable cost එක කීයක් වෙන්න ඕනද? ඒ වගේ දෙයක්. එතකොට මෙතනදී හොඳට මතක තියාගන්න අපිට ටෙස්ට් කරන්න පුළුවන් එක input එක සිද්ධ වෙන වෙනස. එතකොට මේ goal seek command එකේ තියෙන capability එක වෙන්නේ යම්කිසි specify කරන output එකට අදාළව එක input එකක් change කරලා පෙන්වන්න තමයි පුළුවන් වෙන්නේ. එතකොට මෙතන තියෙන උදාහරණය අපි බැලුවොත් contribution එකක් work out කරලා තියෙනවා, selling price එකක් තියෙනවා, variable cost එකක් තියෙනවා. මේ දෙක අතර වෙනසකට අපි කියනවා contribution per unit කියලා. නැත්නම් අපි සිංහලෙන් කියනවා දායකය කියලා. භාණ්ඩයක විකුණුම් මිලෙන් භාණ්ඩයක විචල්්‍ය පිරිවැය ඉවත් කරපුවාම අපිට ලැබෙන උත්තරයට අපි කියනවා ඒකක දායකත්වය කියලා. ඒතකොට මේ ඒකක දායකත්වය අපි තියෙන අපි නිෂ්පාදනය කරන නිමවුම් ගාණෙන් වැඩි කරොත්, අපි විකුණන ඒකක ගාණෙන් වැඩි කරොත් අපිට හම්බ වෙනවා contribution එකක් සමස්ත දායකය. සමස්ත දායකයට අපි කියනවා total contribution එක. ඔන්න මේ දීලා තියෙන තත්ත්වය තුළ අපිට පේනවා 10000ක් contribution එක වෙලා තියෙනවා. ඊට පස්සේ අපිට ප්‍රශ්නයක් එනවා what selling price should be charged to have 20000 total contribution. ඒතර මේ වගේ තත්ත්වයක් තුළ total contribution එක 20000ක් වෙන්න නම් selling price එක කීයක් වෙන්න ඕනද? ඒතකොට units ගාන වෙනස් වෙන්න බෑ, variable cost එක වෙනස් වෙන්න බෑ. හැබැයි selling price එක වෙනස් කරන්න පුළුවන්. selling price එකේ සිද්ධ වෙන වෙනසත් එක්ක contribution එක වෙනස් වෙන්න පුළුවන්. ඒකට ඒ වගේ දෙයක් තමයි මේ goal seek command එකෙන් අපිට කරන්න පුළුවන් වෙන්නේ. යම් කිසි desired output එකකට අවශ්‍ය කරන output එකකට අදාළව අපිට යම් කිසි input එකක් වෙනස් කරන්න පුළුවන් ඒ කියන output එක achieve කරන්න. ඒක තමයි goal seek command එකෙන් ප්‍රධාන වශයෙන් සිද්ධ වෙන්නේ. Right? Okay. So we may take one example and work this out. Let me start with the example what I have taken from the very beginning. So let me take those inputs and let's try to figure out how it works. So this is what the given information. Let's say that there is a particular business organization who would be ready to sell a particular product at 120, and the variable cost of that product is 35 rupees, and there is a fixed cost in this entity, that is 300,000. The demand or the expected uh, sales is going to be 10,000 units at the moment. Then your output, the profit, is we have computed like 550,000. Now this is the basic scenario. Now let me copy the same information because we are going to change this. So same information was taken, right? Okay. Now when the things are such, now let's say that you want to compute in order to achieve a profit of say 800,000. At the moment it's 500,000. Now you want to see what can be the selling price in order to earn 800,000 profit. Earn a profit of 800,000. එතකොට මේ වගේ question එකක් දීලා තියෙනවා කියලා හිතමු. එතකොට අපිට කොහොමද මේක work out කරන්න වෙන්නේ? එහෙනම් අපිට කරන්න තියෙන්නේ මෙච්චරයි. So you may go to the output, then you may go to the data. There you have what if analysis. Then take goal seek. Then you have to say set cell, and that is in fact going to be your output. What is your output? That is the profit. You want this profit to be 800,000, right? So therefore your output is profit. Then what is the value? The value must be 800,000. Then you want to achieve that by changing what? The changing cell. This is what we call the input cell. You want to change the selling price. Then say okay, that's it. So it may take some time, it may work this out, and it will tend to produce the profit that it will. Yes, so it could not produce the result, and the maximum that it could take us for 650,000. So I believe that is because we have applied certain conditions. So that may be the case, right? Yes, in fact, yeah, it is because of the conditions what we had applied, because we have specified that the demand. So in fact this is the first activity what we have taken, so therefore that's why we couldn't produce the desired result. So let me simplify this, and then it may produce the desired result, right? So let's get rid from these conditions that is there. Let's forget that we don't have any constraint relating to the profit. So let's say the demand is going to be 10,000 units, just right. Then everything is fine. Now it's going to work, right? Okay. So relating to previous question, the previous example, they couldn't achieve that because the maximum what they can generate is a profit of like 650,000. But now it is fine. Now let's go to the output. What if analysis, goal seek. You want to set this value, the profit, to 800,000 by changing what? By changing the selling price. Then you can say okay. See, in no time they have managed to do that. See, earlier the selling price was 120, but now the selling price is 145. All the other information remains same, while the profit figure had been taken to 800,000. So this is how it generates. Now let's try to achieve the same by changing the variable cost. Let's try to do that as well. So then අපි බලමු variable cost එක වෙනස් කරලා මේ profit එක අපිට achieve කරන්න පුළුවන්ද කියලා. Let's try that out whether it is possible. So you would go to the output, then you may go to the data, what if analysis, goal seek, set value, so that is going to be the output. So you may mention that if you wish, make it constant to what, 800,000. Then what you need to do, you want to change the variable cost by changing variable cost. Say okay. Right, it has managed to work this out and they have produced that. If you can make the variable cost 10, so you can see you can achieve the desired profit. And this is the essence of goal seek. In order to achieve a specified output, you can change an input and see how it works, right? Okay. Now let us go and work out some examples over there. The activity 4. Let's take activity 4. Let me copy that, copy and paste that. The activity 4 says that Nimal wants to pay off his loan over 15 years. The annual interest rate is 16%. Nimal tells that he can afford monthly payment of 20,000. How much he can borrow from the bank? So when we look at the Nimal's condition, he wants to pay off a loan over a period of 15 years. And the annual interest rate should be 16%. And the only thing or the amount that he can afford is 20,000. Then it asks how much he can borrow from the bank. So therefore, you need to figure out what is the loan amount. So he says that the duration, so it is the loan period, it's going to be 15 years, and the annual interest rate is going to be like 16% interest rate. The monthly installment he says that he can only afford 20,000. So in order to work this out, first assuming some amount, you need to work out the monthly installment. Thereafter we can make the change and see, right? Okay, let's take the loan amount. Let's assume that it is 1 million or something at the moment. So let's say it is 1 million. And monthly installment, let's work this out. How you would do? You may take the PMT function. So this is something what you had mastered. So you have to take the rate, so the interest rate, make sure you are going to make it constant, and also convert that into a monthly interest rate because this is a monthly installment. NPR period is 15, so you need to multiply this by like 12. So because you need to convert that into month, 180 month. Present value at the moment I have taken 1 million, right? Okay, then you can make it constant, say okay. So if you can so in this particular case, in order to acquire 1 million, all what you have to pay a monthly installment of 14,600. 687.01. But this is just the information what you had constructed, but this is not the desired result. Now you can work on the desired result. So it says that he can afford a monthly installment of 20,000, and depending on that, let's decide the loan amount. So once you constructed that, so if you wish, you can even copy this if you want to compare it with the previous instance. So you may copy that, and this is the what you have done. Sorry for that. Right, now let's go to the data, then what if analysis, then goal seek. You want to set this value to a value 20,000. Take it like minus, because it's a payment. So minus 20,000 by changing what? By changing the loan amount. Say okay. So it would take some time and it would work out how much that you can afford. So it says that if you can afford so it seems to be it's a kind of huge amount. So the loan amount is going to be a kind of huge amount if you can afford 20,000. So it seems something wrong with that. Let us delete that. So something went wrong in the copy, so therefore let us stick to this and work out. So while we copy, something would have gone wrong, so let us stick to this original formula and work out. Go to data, what if analysis, then goal seek. You want to set this value to minus 20,000 by changing the loan. Say okay. Yes, it was pretty easily work out. So that is going to be 1,361,747. You can go for a kind of 1.3 million loan if you can afford 20,000. So this must be the answer. So how much you can take as the loan? So that is 1,361,747. That is the loan what you can take. So earlier when we copy that, something might have gone wrong. So අපි copy කරලා ගන්නකොට මොනවා හරි වෙනස් වෙන්නේ නැති ඒකයි answer එක ආවේ නැත්තේ, right? But now we have managed to get that. Similarly, let's look at activity 5, the final activity in the goal seek. Let's have a look at that as well. So there it says the following information is given for a particular product. You are given the selling price, variable cost and fixed cost. Let's take these inputs. So you have the selling price, that's 450. Variable cost, that is going to be 225. Also the fixed cost, that is there 1.2 million. Then you have the demand information. You need to assume a particular demand. So let's having a look at the question. We may take that at the moment. Let's say you are selling 10,000 units or something. You may take that demand information, and you need to get the output. You need to get the output, and your output is going to be the depending on the question, right? Let's see the first instance. It says that how many units are needed to sell to be break even. What do you mean by break even? Break even is the point where we make no profit, no loss. So in other words, the instance where the profit is zero, we call it the break even. Then the question asks how many units that you must produce, how many units that you must sell in order to make a profit, in order to enjoy a moment where no profit, no loss, right? So first you must work out a particular scenario, then thereafter you can apply the goal seek and get the desired result. So depending on the given information, you can start with the selling price, then you can deduct the variable cost, then you get the per unit contribution, multiply it by the number of units and minus the fixed cost. That gives you the profit. So අපේ profit එක වෙනවා මේ විදිහට. දැන් තියෙන තත්ත්වය තුල එකක 10000ක් වික්කොත් ඔන්න profit එකක් තියෙනවා 1050. එතකොට අපි බලමු මේක අවස්ථා කිහිපයකට අදාළව අපිට ගන්න නෑ. අපි බලමු තියෙන විදිහට right. ඊට පස්සේ අපිට ඕනේ මේ profit එක කීයක් වෙන්නද? profit එක 0 වෙන්න. profit එක 0 වෙන්න units කීයක් වෙන්න ඕනද කියලා. Let's see. You may go to the data and what if analysis, goal seek. You want to set this value to 0 by changing what? Changing the number of units that you intend to sell. Say okay. It says that when you sell roughly 5333.33 units, so we call it 5333 units. When you sell 5333 units, you would be making no profit or no loss. So that is the break even. So that must be the answer for part A. Then the second one, how many units are needed to sell to earn a profit of 150,000? So you may get the same information because these are different scenarios. So it is part B. Related in the part B, now it asks how many units that you need to sell in order to make a profit of 150,000. So now what? You want to make the profit to 150,000. So still make sure that the formulas are very correctly applied. It is B39 minus B40 to B42 and minus B41. Yes. Otherwise, it's not going to work, right? What if analysis goal C? You want to set this value to what? 150,000. 150,000 by changing what? The demand or the number of units. Say okay. See, when you sell 6,000 units, you can make a profit of 150,000. So that's what the answer for part B. So that is the question. That is the case. Then take part C. So it's about what selling price should be charged in order to sell the units calculated in A above while achieving a profit of 150,000. Now what? Now you are going to change the selling price and you want to keep the units that you get in the break even or the part A while achieving a profit of 150,000, right? So let us take the basic information first. You may take the basic information. Having taken that, you want to make sure that you would keep the same units, but you want to make the profit to 150,000 by selling the sales price. So it is no problem. You can do that, no? So the only thing what you change, it's the selling price, right? You take what if analysis, goal seek. You take this particular thing to the 150,000, but the only thing that you can change is selling price. Say okay. So it seems that if you can make your selling price like 478.125, you can get this demand what you get in first case. So in fact you haven't changed that, and you can get the profit, desired profit. So this time you have managed to change the selling price. So that's how I have highlighted the things that you have changed. Okay, so this is how you produce the answers. Right, you can refer to this. Before you refer to this, you may make an effort these questions on your own. Thereafter, come back and have a look at these answers. Then you can make sure whether you have done this properly. So therefore, before you refer to the answers, so you may work them on your own, then you may get the results, right? So it is about the goal seek. So far we have finished discussing two of the two tools that is used under the sensitivity analysis. Then we can move on to the final scenario, final one. The final tool what we are expected to discuss under this, we call it the scenario manager, right? When it comes to the scenario manager, so this is the most advanced stage in sensitivity analysis. If you go to the one-way data table, what you could do, when there is a change in one input, you could see what is the impact that it has on the output. When you go to the two-way data table, what you could see, when there is a change in two variables, so two inputs, you could see what is the effect that it has on the output. But if you go to the scenario manager, in this scenario manager, what you can do is you can check when there is a change in 32 inputs, what is the effect that it has on the output. So therefore, this is going to be the highest level of capability that it offers in this spreadsheet package. එතකොට අපි මේ දක්වා කතා කරපු sensitivity analysis tools වල one way data table එක අපි දැක්කේ එක input එකක් change වෙනකොට output එකේ එහෙම නැත්නම් outputs වල සිද්ධ වෙන වෙනස්කම. Two way data table එක inputs දෙකක් වෙනස් වෙනකොට output එකේ සිද්ධ වෙන වෙනස්කම. එතකොට ඒ වගේ අපි දැක්කේ අවස්ථා දෙකක්. එතකොට goal seek එකේ කරන්නේ දෙන ලද output එකට දාලා input එක decide කිරීම. එතනදිත් අපි දැක්කේ එක input එකයි change කරන්න පුළුවන් උනේ. නමුත් scenario manager එකට ආවහම ඒක තමයි highest level of application of sensitivity analysis. අපිට පුළුවන් inputs 32ක් වෙනස් කරලා එකවර බලන්න මොකක්ද ඒකෙන් output එකට තියෙන impact එක කියලා. ඒතකොට ඒ විදිහට බලපුවාම මේකේ තියෙන highest level of application එක තමයි scenario manager එක. Now we are going to learn about that particular application, right? How to use the scenario manager for sensitivity analysis. So if I just to show you how to use that, all what you have to do is you may go to the data, then you have the what if analysis, there you have the scenario manager, right? So as the term suggests, you can try out different scenarios. The worst scenario, the best scenario, the normal scenario, likewise, different scenarios you can try out. විවිධ ව්‍යාපාර තත්ත්වයන් වලට අදාළව මේ sensitivity analysis එකක් අපිට කරන්න පුළුවන්. When you are going to do that, in fact, it is beneficial to work this out through an example. අපි මේක example එකක් ආශ්‍රයෙන් කරමු. එතකොට තමයි මේ ටික ගොඩක් පැහැදිලි වෙන්නේ. ඊට පස්සේ අපි මේක බැලුවොත් ඒක ගොඩක් පැහැදිලි වෙයි. සමම එතන මුලින්ම අපි activity එකට ගිහිල්ලා ඒ activity එක work out කරමු. So there is an activity where you are given some input, and given this input you are given three scenarios, and then you've been asked to compute, forecast the cash flows for the next 5 years and develop a model to find NPV for the above three scenarios. තොර මුලින්ම කියනවා cash flows ටික estimate කරන්න, forecast කරන්න කියලා inputs වලට අදාළව. ඊට පස්සේ මේ scenarios අපි apply කරමු. එහෙනම් මේ question එකේ මුලින්ම අපි basic model එකක් develop කරගමු. අපි සෑම අවස්ථාවකම කරා වගේ let's develop the basic model. තොර මේක අපි ඇත්තටම ඩිස්කස් කරපු දෙයක් ආශ්‍රයෙන් තමයි අරගෙන තියෙන්නේ. ඒ නිසා මේක අමාරු දෙයක් වෙන්නේ නැහැ right. NPV computation එකක් අපි කරේ inputs ටිකක් base කරගෙන. අන්න ඒ දේ තමයි මෙතන අපි කරන්න යන්නේ. එහෙනම් අපේ inputs ටික තියෙනවා. අපි දැන් work out කරගමු මේ inputs වලට අදාළව මොකක්ද NPV model එකක්. තර question එකේ කියන්නේ අවුරුදු 5කට අදාළව. එහෙනම් අපේ output එක අපි දාගමු. We have worked this out extensively, but still I believe it is better to work this out. Then it will consolidate your knowledge. You can start with the period. The period goes as from 0 to 5 years, right? So 1, 2, likewise you may take that up to 5 years, right? Then you have the investment. Initial investment is there, you may take that. So what is that investment? In year 0, the question suggests it is going to be 1 million. You may take that. So make sure that you make it constant, right? Then you get the so it's in fact it's a cash outflow, sorry. You have to make sure that it's a -1. So make sure you take it as a minus figure. It's -1 million, and the scrap value is given, that is to be 200,000. You make a reference there. So therefore you may get that. Then you can go for the kind of question gives you the sales. So you may get the sales. So in the year 1 sale, how much is that? The year 1 sales unit is given, and you can take that. Sorry, year 1 sales unit are given, so you can take that and make it constant and multiply it by the year 1 unit selling price. So you may get the selling price, right? Then you may get the sales revenue for the first year, and thereafter you have to incorporate the sales unit growth and sales price growth. So you know how to incorporate that. You may get the sales and multiply by 1 plus the sales unit growth. Sales unit growth going to be 5%. You get that. Then you multiply by sales price growth 1 plus price growth 1%. So you would get that, right? Price growth is incorporated. Now you can simply drag them out and up to year 5. So you would get the sales. Thereafter you can get the operating cost, or you can say the cost of sales. You can get that cost information, or the operating cost, whatever. Cost of sales is going to be again number year 1 unit is there, it is given, I believe, yes. So it's a -1, so take it with the minus figure. Units are there, multiplied by units multiplied by the cost information. Year 1 unit cost is 20. You may take that and make it constant. So you may get that. So in year 1 you have 300,000 cost. Thereafter you would take this cost information, then multiply it by 1 plus the unit growth in unit. So it is called the sales growth. Then you may multiply it by, incorporate the cost growth is given, that is to be 3%. So you may get that as well and incorporate, right? Then you can easily track that. මේවා අපි discuss කරා extensively, ඒ නිසා අපි ඒක පහසුවෙන් කරගෙන යන්න පුළුවන්. ඊට පස්සේ අපිට පුළුවන් tax එකක් compute කරන්න. කොහොමද? The tax is going to be the income tax. So the income tax can be computed like in year 1. So in this question it does not say we pay the we pay the kind of tax in arrears, so therefore we may believe we pay the tax on the same year. So how do you take that? You may take the summation of these two figures, then you get the difference, right? So once you determine that, you can multiply it by, you want to make it a minus figure, income tax is a -1, so it is minus tax rate. Then you have the income tax. Now you can drag that, and that is your income tax. Thereafter you have to take the tax saving on capital allowance. So you have the capital allowance, so you can take a tax saving on that. So what is the capital allowance per annum? That is 20%. So you may go to the initial investment. So your initial investment is 1 million, so make it constant, and you may get them multiplied by the capital allowance. It is 20%, so make it constant, it is not going to change. So having taken that, so if you get the answer, you can see, so that is the capital allowance or the depreciation, tax depreciation per annum. On that you can compute the tax, so it's going to be 25%. So you can enter that, it is 50,000. So you can drag that up until the final year. So once you do so, now you have come to the final year where you have to compute the tax on disposal gain. So in this question you can see that at the end of the project you can sell this investment for, so the selling price of the investment is how much you can sell this investment for. The question says that it is for 200,000, right? Then if you look at the carrying amount of this particular investment, so you can initially identify the, so you need to figure out the carrying amount of the investment at the end of the period. You could see that carrying amount comes as, initially you bought it for 1 million, it could be a kind of machinery item, minus depreciation per annum. So how much is the depreciation per annum? Let's show them separately, then you can identify that properly. Cost is 1 million, then if you take the accumulated depreciation in terms of tax depreciation, per annum depreciation was how much? This figure into 20%, no? Capital allowance. Then how many years has gone, like when you come to year 5, there are 5 years has gone. Now you are in the end of the 5th year. So therefore your accumulated one is going to be 1 million. Accordingly, the carrying amount is going to be the difference between this. So the carrying amount is going to be 0. So you can see there is a gain on disposal. The entire thing is a gain on disposal. That's going to be 200,000 minus 0, and you may multiply them by, first you must get the gain, and then you can work out the tax on disposal gain. So the entire thing was a kind of gain, so therefore what you can do is you can take the tax. If you compute, it's going to be, this is into 25%, 50,000 must be there. So therefore you can work the things out over here. Tax on disposal, first you may get the disposal proceed 2 million minus the carrying amount, you need to get that. So how you would take, so you have to take your initial investment multiplied by the tax rate, capital elements, and multiplied by the number of years. So that is 5 years has gone. So even you can make it a reference here, you can make it 5. So once you get that, you can see that it is supposed to get 200,000 over there. Sorry, something would have gone wrong. 20,000 into 200,000, the carrying amount is supposed to be, yeah. Sorry, here we got it wrong. How we must get that? We may get the sales proceed minus the investment value minus the accumulated depreciation. No? And it is going to be 5 years. Now if you get this, you would see, yes, gain comes. On the entire thing, you need to compute the, what do you call, the tax. You have to apply the tax rate, then you may get. Accordingly, tax on disposal comes as 50,000. So here you have worked this out and you may get them over there. Right. Now you have done everything. Now it's time to get the cash flows. The net cash flow, you can get that, right? Net cash flow. Cash flows. So what you have to do, you may have to add the line items down. So here we have, so this is going to be the, so here this tax on disposal need to be a kind of minus flow, so therefore make sure to take it like a minus figure, right? Okay, so it is quite difficult to read, so therefore let's put that to a readable format. Now yes, it can be easily read. Now you can work out the NPV for this particular scenario. For the current situation, you may compute the NPV. You can get the NPV function. So what you must do, you may get the rate first. So the discount rate is given as 12%, take them, and the values. So when come to the values, you may not take the first or the year 0 values, but instead the rest of the things. Having taken that, you may add the year 0 cash flow. So then you see, so the NPV is going to be 585,763 depending on the current terms. Likewise, when you are given a question, first you need to work out the model. Okay, now you have worked out the model. Now what you have to do, the question says that there are 3 scenarios, right? So in these 3 scenarios, so this depending on the economic situation of the country, they would have forecasted some conditions, right? එතකොට අපිට දීලා තියෙනවා, දැන් අපි මේ work out කරේ දීලා අපේ තියෙන දැන්ට තියෙන තත්ත්වයන් එක්ක. ඒ කියන්නේ එතකොට දැන්ට අපේ තියෙන investment එක, දැන්ට අපේ තියෙන year 1 sales expectation එක, sales growth එක, year 1 selling price එක, unit cost එක, likewise මේ දැන්ට තියෙන තොරතුරු base කරගෙන තමයි අපි මේ work out කරේ NPV එක. නමුත් මේ කරන්ට් සිටුේෂන් එකම අපිට එක්ස්පෙක්ට් කරන්න බැරි වෙයි. ඉකොනොමි එකේ තියෙන විවිධ තත්ත්වයන් එක්ක අපිට යම් දේවල් එක්ස්පෙක්ට් කරන්න වෙයි. එතකොට අපිට හැමදේම හොඳින් සිද්ධ වුණොත් අපි ඒකට කියනවා බෙස්ට් කේස් සිනාරියෝ එකක් කියලා. ඒකට හැමදේම හොඳින් සිද්ධ වෙන ආර්ථිකය හොඳ බූම් එක නම් යන්නේ. එතකොට ඉකොනොමි එකේ හොඳ growth එකක් නම් තියෙන්නේ. ඔන්න අපිට එක්ස්පෙක්ට් කරන්න පුළුවන් it's a best case. it's a best case. එතකොට best case එකක් තිබුණොත් අපි හිතනවා පළවෙනි අවුරුද්දේ sales 25000ක් වෙයි කියලා. එතකොට දැන්ට තියෙන sales කීයද? දැන්ට අපි හිතන්නේ 15000ක් වෙයි කියලා. එතකොට අපි හිතනවා ආර්ථිකය හොඳට තිබුණොත් ඒකක 25000ක් අපිට sell කරන්න පුළුවන් වෙයි කියලා. ඒ වගේම අපි හිතනවා annual sales growth එක 10% වගේ වෙයි කියලා. දැන්ට කොහොමද annual sales growth එක තියෙන්නේ? දැන්ට sales growth එක තියෙන්නේ 5%. අපි හිතනවා අනාගතයේදී මේක වෙයි කියලා 10% වගේ. ඒකට මේක හොඳ boom එක ගියොත් economy එක. ඒ වගේම sales price එකත් අපි හිතනවා වෙනස් වෙයි කියලා 100ට එකයි දැන්ට තියෙන price එක grow වෙන්නේ price එක අපි හිතනවා 105කින් විතර grow වෙයි කියලා. එතකොට මේ best prospect මේක අපිට favorable condition එකක්. මේ වගේ හොඳ තත්ත්වයක් පැවතුනොත් මෙන්න මේ විදිහට year 1 sales growth එක ඒ වගේම sales price එක මේ විදිහට grow වෙයි. එතකොට මේක අපි හිතනවා best case scenario එකක් කියලා. එහෙම නැතුව ගොඩක් වෙලාවට වෙන්න පුළුවන් තත්ත්වයක් ගැන අපි හිතුවොත් ඒකට අපි කියනවා most likely case එක කියලා. රටේ ආර්ථිකයේ තියෙන තත්ත්වයක් එක්ක අපි අපේ forecast කරොත් අපිට වෙන්න පුළුවන් most likely case එකට අනුව අපි බැලුවොත් අපි හිතනවා year 1 එකේ sales වෙයි 17500. දැන්ට තියෙන 15000ක් ඒක නෑ 17500ක් විතර වෙයි. ඊට පස්සේ annual sales grow වෙයි 7%. annual sale එක grow වෙයි 7% වලින්. ඊට පස්සේ sales price එක grow වෙයි 2% වලින් වගේ කියලා කියනවා. ඒතකොට ඒක තමයි most likely. එහෙම නැත්නම් රටේ තියෙන තත්ත්වය worse වුණොත් worst case scenario එකක් නම් හරියට මේ corona threat එක වගේ නම් දෙයක් ආවොත් මොන වගේ විදිහකටද අපේ expectation වෙනස් වෙන්නේ. අපි එතනදී හිතනවා අපේ year 1 sale එක 8000ක් වගේ වෙයි. ඊට පස්සේ annual sales growth එක 2% වෙයි. හොඳටම growth එක අඩු වෙයි. ඒ වගේම තමයි price එකත් grow වෙන්නේ 0.5 වලින් වගේ කියලා. එතකොට මේ changes ටික දාපුවාම අපිට බලන්න පුළුවන් worst case එකදී මොකක්ද වෙන්නේ කියලා. ඇත්තටම අපිට මේ දේවල් කරන්න අපිට ඇත්තටම අවශ්‍ය වෙන්නේ නැහැ scenario manager එක. කෙනෙක්ට හිතෙන්න පුළුවන් අපිට මේ තියෙන inputs ටික change කරන්න තියෙන්නේ අපිට change කරපුවාම මේ වෙනස්කම් බලන්න පුළුවන්. ඔව්. That's true. අපි හිතුවොත් best case ටිකට අදාළව අපි කරලා බලමු. ඔන්න අපි 25000 කරනවා. මේ වෙනස්කමට අදාළව මේක respond කරනවා. right? අපිට පේනවා. ඊට පස්සේ අපිට පුළුවන් change කරන්න මේ විදිහටම sales price එකත්. මේක input වල change කරපුවාම මේක එනවා. annual sales growth එක තියෙනවා 10%. ඔව්. ඒකත් ඔන්න අපි change කරා. ඊට පස්සේ price එක grow වෙනවා කියලා කියනවා 5% වලින්. එහෙනම් ඒකත් 5% change කරමු. price growth එක 5% කරමු. ඒතකොට මේ විදිහට බැලුවොත් ඔන්න මේ best case එකට අදාළව output එක ඇවිල්ලා තියෙනවා මිලියන 2.007. එහෙනම් ඔන්න මේ change එක adapt කරනවා. එහෙනම් best case එක අපිට බලන්න පුළුවන්. මේ විදිහට most likely case එකත් ওই විදිහට අදාළ දේවල් වෙනස් කරලා ගන්න පුළුවන් වෙයි. worst case එකත් ওই විදිහට වෙනස් කරලා අපිට ගන්න පුළුවන් වෙයි. හැබැයි එහෙම ගත්තාම තියෙන එකම limitation එක තමයි අපිට මේක අවස්ථා තුනකදී work out කරන්න වෙනවා. best case එකට එකයි, most likely case එකට එකයි, worst case එකට එකයි. මේ වගේ අවස්ථා තුනකදී අපි මේක වෙනස් කරලා තමයි අපිට ගන්න වෙන්නේ. එතකොට එතන බලපුවාම අපිට efficiency effectiveness නැහැ. එතකොට අපි model එකක් develop කරපු ප්‍රධාන principle එකක් එතන අපි drop කරනවා. එතනදී අපි make sure කරන්න ඕනේ efficiency සහ effectiveness is there. එහෙමනම් අපිට මේක තුන් පාරකට කරලා best case එකට එකක්, most likely case එකට එකක්, worst case එකට එකක් විදිහට ගන්න පුළුවන්. නමුත් ඒක cost effective නැහැ. ඒ වගේම තමයි අපිට මේ ටික compare කරලා බලන්නත් ටිකක් අපහසුයි. එහෙමනම් ඒ වගේ තත්ත්වයකට සොලියුෂන් එකක් විදිහට තමයි අපි ඉන්ට්‍රොඩියුස් කරන්නේ මේ scenario managers. මේ scenario manager එකෙන් පුළුවන් අපිට different scenarios ටෙස්ට් කරලා බලන්න එකම ඉන්ටර්ෆේස් එක ඔක්කොම ආන්සර්ස් ටික ඇවිල්ලා තියෙන විදිහට. එහෙමනම් අපි බලමු මේක කොහොමද scenario manager එකක් apply කරලා ගන්න කියලා. So let me just go back to the current phenomena. Yeah, so let me go back to the previous one. Right, now I have restored the previous situation, right? Okay, you have it, previous situation, that is the current situation, right? Okay, now what we are going to do, we may go to the data, what if analysis, scenario manager. මෙන්න මේ වගේ ඉන්ටර්ෆේස් එකක් තමයි අපි මුලින්ම scenario manager එකට ගියාම තියෙන්නේ. ඊට පස්සේ දැන්ට active buttons දෙකක් තියෙනවා, add සහ merge කියලා. එතනින් අපි ගන්න ඕනේ මේ add කියන button එක. Because we are going to add the scenarios, right? So therefore merge you should not take, you should get add. Then it asks what is the scenario name. Scenario එකේ name එක. We are going to add different scenario. First the best case scenario. So let's say it is the best case. It's the best case scenario. ඊට පස්සේ එතනම අපෙන් අහනවා මොනවද changing sales කියලා. එතකොට අපි change කරන්න ඕනේ sales මොනවද මේ model එකේ? sales figure එක වෙනස් වෙන්න ඕනේ, annual sales growth එක වෙනස් වෙන්න ඕනේ, selling price එක වෙනස් වෙන්න ඕනේ. එහෙනම් අපිට පුළුවන් ඒ ටික දෙන්න. So what we do, we may go to the changing sales, then you may go back and you may specify them. First you need to get the sales column, sales 1, then you may get the sales growth one, and you want to change as well as price. then මේ තොරතුරු තුනනේ අපිට වෙනස් කරන්න ඕනේ උනේ. year 1 sale එක, annual sales growth එක, ඒ වගේම selling price growth එක. එහෙනම් මේ information තුන අපි ඔන්න තියෙන sales ටික එකින් එකට ගත්තා. මුලින්ම ආපස්සට පෙන්නන්නම්. මුලින්ම තියෙන්නේ අපිට ගන්න ඕනේ sales column එක. එතකොට මෙන්න මෙතනින් අපිට ඒක ගන්න පුළුවන් නේ. හැබැයි මේකේ තියෙන අඩුපාඩුවක් විදිහට මට පේනවා. දැන් අපි මෙතන ගත්තාම B6 කියන එක තමයි තියෙන්නේ. හැබැයි අපි අපේ range name දැනුම භාවිතා කරලා මේ cell එක නම් කරගත්තා නම් sales unit වගේ කියලා මෙතන අපි select කරනකොට අපිට meaningful විදිහට මේක එනවා. නිසා අපි range name use කරලා අවශ්‍ය නම් කෙනෙක්ට මේක rename කරගෙන ඉන්න පුළුවන්. එතකොට මෙතන refer කරනකොට අපිට ඉදිරියටත් අවශ්‍ය වෙනවා මේ දේවල්. එතනදී අපිට බොහොම පහසුවෙන් කරන්න පුළුවන් වෙයි. එතකොට ඒක ඔයාලා කරලා බලන්න. මම දැන්ට මේක මේ විදිහට කරන්න. එතකොට ඔයාලට ඒක තියෙන අපහසුතාවය පැහැදිලි වෙයි. right? කොහොමනොත් sales unit එක අපි ගන්නවා. ඊට පස්සේ අපිට අවශ්‍ය වෙන ඊළඟ තොරතුරු තමයි කමාවක් දාලා අවශ්‍ය වෙන ඊළඟ තොරතුරු තමයි annual sales growth එක. sales growth එක. ඔන්න sales growth cell එක refer කරා. ඊට පස්සේ තුන්වෙනි එක තියෙනවා price growth එක. price growth එක විතර තියෙනවා. right. ඒ තුන ගත්තා. Now you can say you don't have to change anything other than that. Give a name for the scenario and give the changing sets. Then say okay. This is where the difficulty comes. දැන් මෙතන තියෙන B6, B7, B12. දැන් අපි දන්නේ නැහැ මේවා එක එකක් මොකක්ද කියලා නේ. නැවත ගිහින් බලන්න වෙනවා. හැබැයි මේ සෙල් වලට නම් දීලා තිබ්බනම් මෙතන ඒ අදාළ නම් තමයි appear වෙන්නේ. Right? So it's a kind of value addition that you could do. You may try. Right. දැන් B6 එකේ අපිට පුළුවන් ඒ කියන්නේ අලුත් තත්ත්වයට අනුව sales unit කීයක් තියෙනවා. ඒක අපි type කරමු 25000. ඊට පස්සේ sales growth එක කීයක් වෙනවද? ඒක අපි question එක ගිහිල්ලා බලමු. මෙතන පහළට අපි drag කරන්න දෙන්නේ නැහැ මේ window එකේ ඉන්නකොට. එතකොට question එකට ගිහිල්ලා බලන්න වෙනවා 10ක් සහ 5. මේක 10%ක් විතරමලු. 10%යි. මේක 100ට දැන් තියෙන එකක් 105ක් වෙනවලු sales growth එක. 105ක් වෙනවලු. අපි ඒක ගත්තා. ඔන්න අපි inputs ටික define කරගත්තා. එතකොට ඔන්න best case scenario එකට අදාළ මේ එක එක cells වලට එන්න ඕන values ටික අපි මෙතන specify කරා. B6 cell එකේ දැන් තියෙන 15000 ඒක 25000 කරන්න කිව්වා. B7 cell එකේ දැන් තියෙන්නේ 105 ඒක 110 කරන්න කිව්වා. B12 සෙල් එකේ දැන්ට තියෙන්නේ 101 ඒක 105 කරන්න කිව්වා. අපි ඕකේ කියනවා. මේක එක සිනාරියෝ එකක්. අපිට සිනාරියෝස් තුනක් තිබුණා. එහෙනම් අපි දෙවෙනි සිනාරියෝ එකට යමු. දෙවෙනි සිනාරියෝ එකට මොකක්ද අපි කියන්නේ? ක්වෙස්චන් එකට අනුව බැලුවොත් most likely case. Say most likely case. The most likely case එකෙත් අපි කලින් තිබ්බ changing cells ටික අරන් තියෙනවා. ඒතර මේ ටික අපි okay කියලා යන්න පුළුවන් කෙලින්ම. Let's say okay. So then they would show us the values what we have to input. We may get most likely case එකේ sales වෙනවා 17500ක්. ඊට පස්සේ තියෙනවා growth එක එතන දීලා තියෙන්නේ 107ක් වෙයි. ඊට පස්සේ price එක 102කින් වැඩි වෙයි කියනවා. අපිට ඒක okay කරන්න පුළුවන්. දැන් cases දෙකක් add කරගත්තා. තුන්වෙනි scenario එකත් අපි add කරගන්නවා. තුන්වෙනි scenario එක මොකක්ද? ඒක තමයි worst case එක. When come to the worst case scenario, changing cells වල වෙනසක් නැහැ. ඒ cells ටිකම තමයි. අපි එතකොට මේක ඒ ටිකමයි okay කිව්වනම් ඇති. So it may take some time to process. It's a little complicated one. So allow some time for that to appear. Yes, then it comes. Okay. Then you can say what is B6. It's going to be the sales 8000. Sales at 8000 වෙනවා. මෙතන තියෙනවා 2% annual sales growth එක 2%. ඊට පස්සේ ඒ වගේම sales price growth එක වෙන්නේ 0.05. 0.5%. මෙතන බිංදු දෙකක් පහක් එන්න ඕනේ. Right. Okay. දැන් එහෙමනම් ඒ ටික හරිනම් අපි okay කියමු. Right. දැන් අපි ඔක්කොම scenarios ටික add කරගෙන ඉවරයි. Once you're done with all the scenarios, what you have to do is you have to go to this summary. Right? If you found that if something had gone wrong, what you can do is you can go to that scenario and you can delete that, right? Even you can edit the things. Edit කරන්නත් පුළුවන්. එතකොට මේවා නිදහසේ explore කරලා බලන්න. එතකොට add, delete, edit මේ දේවල් ටික කරන්න පුළුවන්. මේ merge කියන එක try කරන්න එපා. අපි ඔක්කොම scenarios ටික add කරලා ඉවර වුණාට පස්සේ ඊළඟට අපි මොකද්ද කරන්නේ? අපි යනවා මේ summary එකට. එහෙනම් අපි යමු summary කියන එකට. Summary කියන එකට ගියාම අපිට තියෙනවා report types, scenario summary and scenario pivot table report. You can write both in a time convenient to you, but the most important thing out of these two is going to be the scenario summary. මේ scenario එකේ summary එකක් අපි දෙන්න කියලා කියනවා. එතනදී අපි අහන වැදගත් තොරතුරක් තියෙනවා. මොකක්ද result cell එක. මේ inputs change කරන්න බලාපොරොත්තු වෙන output එක මොකක්ද? එතකොට මේක typically අරන් තියෙනවා NPV එක. ඇත්තටම මේක තමයි අපේ output එක අපිට වෙන්නත් ඕනේ නේ. අපිට ඒක F4 කරන්න පුළුවන්. දැන් අපි මේක okay කරමු scenario summary එකක් ඉල්ලලා. See what happens. It has produced us with the scenario summary. This is the current situation where you have sales, where you have sales unit of 15,000 and the unit growth of 5% and price growth of 1%. So then this is the output. For the best case, this is the output. For the most likely case, this is the output. And for the worst case, this is the output. Likewise, it has given us a kind of meaningful comparison. Now you can think about these scenarios and then you can decide what is going to be your case. එතකොට අපිට එක එක අවස්ථා compare කරලා බලන්න පුළුවන්. එතකොට අපි තීරණයක් ගන්නකොට අපි සාමාන්‍යයෙන් best case එකක් නෙමෙයි worst case එකක් නෙමෙයි අපි හිතනවා most likely case එක base කරගෙන අපිට decision එකක් ගන්න පුළුවන් වෙයි. එහෙම නැත්නම් අපිට පුළුවන් වෙයි මේ එක් cases වලට අදාළව මේවා සිද්ධ වෙන්න පුළුවන් තියෙන සම්භාවිතාවල් බලලා ඒකට අනුව මේ සම්භාවිතාව apply කරලා යම්කිසි NPV value එකක් අරගෙන average value එකක් අරගෙන අපි මේකත් එක්ක යනවද නැද්ද කියලා තීරණය කරන්න. නැත්නම් අපිට most likely case එක බලලා තීරණය කරන්න පුළුවන් ඒක positive NPV එකක් නම් අන්න අපිට පුළුවන් මේකත් එක්ක proceed. එතකොට මෙන්න අපි අර කතා කරපු limitation එක තියෙනවා. අපි cells නම් කරේ නැහැ. B6, B7, B12 කියන ඒවා නම් කරලා තිබුණා නම් මෙතෙන්ට හරියටම sales unit growth, sales price growth විදියට අපි දෙන නම් මෙතන appear වෙන්න තිබ්බා. ඒ වගේම තමයි අපි output එකත් මේ NPV එකත් නම් කරලා තිබ්බනම් මෙතන NPV කියලා දාලා මෙතන හරියට මේක NPV කියලා appear වෙන්නත් තිබුණා. ඒතර ඒ ටික පුතාලට කරන්න පුළුවන් වෙනස්කම් කරලා try කරලා මේ answers derive කරන්න බලන්න. එතකොට අපිට sensitivity analysis යටතේ කතා කරන්න බලාපොරොත්තු වෙන්නේ මෙන්න මේ වගේ content එකක් තමයි. මේවා අපි විභාගයේදී highly test කරන්න පුළුවන් areas සහ හොඳට master කරන්න. එතකොට scenario summary එකක් produce කරන්න පුළුවන් වෙන්න ඕනේ. ඒත් එක්කම අපේ second assignment එක එනවා. එතකොට second assignment එකේදී මම ප්‍රධාන වශයෙන් test කරන්න බලාපොරොත්තු වෙනවා ඔයාලගේ lookup knowledge එක සහ sensitivity analysis knowledge එක. So therefore මේ areas දෙක හොඳට thoroughly study කරන්න මේ week එකේ weekend එක වෙනකොට ඔයාලගේ assignment එක upload කරන්න. So therefore you can work on that. For the second assignment it will carry 20 marks. So accordingly for the first assignment that was 30 marks, the second assignment will carry 20 marks. Accordingly it will carry altogether 50 marks. So then you will secure 50 marks when you're going for the final examination. So like you did your first assignment, here also put an great effort and make sure you are going to deliver a best output to me. So therefore you can earn the maximum and even you can easily achieve the pass mark. So you can easily go more than 40 marks. And therefore when it comes to the final, it's just a matter of taking you to a pass. So therefore work hard and get the things done. So if when you are trying out this, if there are any uncomfortable areas, yes, you can email to me and get the clarification done. So during this weekend you may study this and then I will upload your assignment and most probably by this weekend, and I will let you know through an email as well. Then you may do that accordingly. Right. Then we may stop our discussion at this point. Now it is up to you to study this area. Thank you very much.